how to create section drawing in Onshape. And so the first thing I'm going to want to do is make sure I have my part modeled. The next thing I'll do is I'll click the little plus sign down here to insert a new element, and we're going to create a drawing. Now, instead of creating a drawing in a standard ANSI A template, we're going to want to make sure that we find the ANSI A millimeter template. Because this part was a metric part, we need to use the millimeter template. So I'll go ahead and click OK once I find that. And then find my part to place into my drawing sheet. And so once I do that, I can see that it's giving me the front view of the part by default. For this part, we are actually going to create the section view will actually be the front view in the part. And so up here under view orientation, I'm going to go ahead and change that to top, because we want to see the top view, and we'll use that top view to create our section view. I'm going to change the view scale. By default, it came in as half scale or 1:2. I'm going to change that back to 1:1 for this part. And I'm going to come up here somewhere in the top left-ish part of my sheet, and I'm going to click to place that view. Top view's been placed. I'm going to go ahead and just hit escape to end the command. And then I'm going to put in my center marks. And so I'm going to put a center mark in for the cylinder there. I'll put one in for the little standout feature and one for the slot feature. Once I have that done, I can go ahead and create my sectional view. And so to do that, we're going to use the section view tool within the drawing window. And so I can go ahead and click the button to create that. I have three options for sectional view types. I can create a vertical section, a horizontal section, or an angular section. For this part, you can see that we're going to want to have that section line go through the object, through the slot. We're going to have it go down through the cylinder, up and out through the hole. And so I'm going to use the horizontal tool for that. And then I'm just going to click on the points where I want it to cut through the object. So I want it to cut through on the slot. I want it to come down here and cut through on the cylinder feature that goes through the object, and then I want it to cut through that part. And I see when I do that, I then can project a view down of the actual, and it creates the section view for the part. And so once I have that, I can zoom in, and I can see that this line right here is kind of cutting through that part right on the edge. And so I'm going to click that little arrow, and I'm going to drag this line out, and I'm going to try to place this line somewhere right between these two views as closely as I can get. And so I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I want that line to be about right there so it comes out of the object and bisects these two features. And now you see I have a much cleaner view of the cut through that part. I can do the same thing with this one. I want it to be somewhere in the middle. It's not going to change the way that one looks. And so there's how you create that sectional view. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually project up the isometric view for this part. And so I'll click on that sectional view, and I'll project up an isometric view. And I'll click to place that. I can right click on the part, and again, I'm going to make, anytime I have a isometric view, I am going to make it shaded. So I'll click Show Shaded View. The next thing I'm going to show you how to do is create a detail view. And so this little slot that's cut out through this standout in the part is, if we dimension this on the part, like let's just see what it looks like. If I click to dimension the depth of that, you can see that the dimension is fairly difficult to read. There's not a great place to put that. And so in some cases, when you have a very small feature on a part, you're going to want to create what's called a detail view. And so what a detail view does is it blows up a particular portion of your part on your drawing so that we can see it in more detail. And so I'll go ahead and click that detail view. And what it's going to do is it's going to create a circle, and it's going to break that part out and so we can see that section of our part in more detail. So I'm just going to click right here on that little cutout part, and I'm going to draw a circle. And then I'm going to come down here and place it. And notice under my scale, I can change the scale. If I want it to be bigger, I can make it 4:1. That looks appropriate. And so I'm going to make this scale 4:1 on this one, and I'll go ahead and click to place that. Now, instead of dimensioning the depth of this slot that goes through the object right on the part, I can simply come right over here to that detail view and put that dimension in, and then it's easier to understand and read. One more thing that I wanted to show you is adding a general note to a drawing. We know that all of these radii on the part are 1.5 millimeters. And so to add that note, so I don't have to dimension those, I'll go ahead and click the note tool here. And I'm just going to come down here on the left side of my title block and click to place that note. I can make it larger. And then in all caps, I'm just going to type all unmarked radii equal 1.5. Then I can go ahead and close, finish that, and I can see that that note has been applied to my drawing. And now we know that any unmarked radius is 1.5 millimeters. That's the idea about how to create those sectional and detail views for your part. You're going to want to go ahead and finish annotating this part and make sure you include all of the appropriate size and location dimensions. You should have something similar to this. Again, make sure you put your titles in for section views, IED for the course, and our high school name for the third title line.